Good morning everybody and welcome back once again for another video of DIY investing. I was thinking about it yesterday and I thought it was a little bit weird that I was off for a week and instead of updating you guys on Bitcoin, I updated you guys on altcoins. So for today, we're going to be diving in. I'm going to be giving you guys an all-around updated analysis on Bitcoin dominance, the total market cap, as well as the total market cap for the altcoins, because I feel like every chart has a different story to be told, and so it's important for me to go through and give you guys exactly my thoughts and perspective with what I'm viewing things as of right now. If you're new and just finding this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more awesome updates like the one provided in this video. And if you want more awesome analysis, make sure you hit the invitation link in the description, and there you're going to get access to my Discord server. Alright guys, let's jump right in the video today. Okay, so to start, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. Now, obviously, nothing has changed. I'm still keeping the same zones and levels. Now, one thing you're going to notice from my technical analysis compared to other traders is it really doesn't change a whole lot, because I don't really dive into shorter time frames all that often. I like to stick to the big picture and the big picture trend, because really that's the most important thing. When it comes to my strategy, I'm much more long-term to mid-term investing. Taking positions when everything is a relative low point and then scaling out when everything goes into hyped cycles. And so for Bitcoin, I don't need to overcomplicate things. I can look at the big picture trend on the weekly, I can know my levels that I'm watching for, and I can basically time my trades accordingly. And right now, we're still consolidating below my resistance. We've had multiple price rejections, and we're kind of just in that midpoint before we're either about to break back up above this resistance level, or we're going to come back down and retest my support levels down here at about 83.50 and 7600. So this is what I'm watching for on a weekly time frame. Now let's dive into a little bit shorter time frame. How about we drop it to the 4 hour? So the biggest thing for me that I'm watching is the fact that we have consistently made lower highs throughout the entirety of this retrace, and so obviously that's a more bearish signal than anything. Now there's a couple ways that I see people drawing the current consolidation. You have the argument for the symmetrical triangle pattern. Now I don't actually like this setup personally. I'm leaning against this one, because if we pull up the symmetrical triangle, we're going to see that the lower highs had a lot more reaction than the higher highs did. So these higher highs are more looking horizontal than they are actually trending up necessarily, whereas the lower highs, you can see a definitive downtrend with less and less significant bounces back into that resistance. And so for me, I'm not looking at this as a symmetrical triangle. I look at it more as this is a horizontal support zone and this is descending resistance. So really what that means is this is more of a descending triangle. The symmetry of this pattern looks a lot more like a descending triangle than a symmetrical triangle pattern for me. But one thing I just want to point out, guys, is the fact that I'm not really focused on the pattern that's playing out, whether it's a symmetrical triangle, whether it's a descending triangle. That's not really what's important to me. What's important to me is the fact that we do continue to paint lower highs. We've had 4 thus far, and now we're even getting rejected as of right now. And so it's looking less bullish, in my opinion. It looks more weak, like we're going to see a drop. Now, a lot of people watching this descending triangle are trying to call bottoms all the way back down here at about the 6K floor, and I want to point out that that is just not likely in the slightest. I think that if we do sell out of this, it will only go down to about the $7,600 area. That's my target, because I just don't see it going much lower than that. We've already, from peak high to the low of what we saw here at about 91.50, that was already a 34% correction. And if you guys have been following me from the rally up, I've been telling you guys that the best buying opportunity is going to come between a 30 to a 40%. And so really we're in between both of those targets. So you can't really go wrong taking time to accumulate now. So this is what I'm watching out for with Bitcoin. This is really the only thing that I'm paying attention for. We're consolidating right now. We're just coiling tighter and tighter in this triangle, waiting for confirmation one way or the other. It is possible that we can break up and out of this, even though this is a bearish pattern. But we're going to watch and see exactly kind of what happens, because really, to me, it can go any way as of right now. There is also a bullish perspective. I mean, as of right now, there is the potential for an inverse head and shoulder that's forming here. we're also forming it right below this resistance, and so it's possible that we could get a nice buy volume candle that would take us in here. But if we do break from this inverse head and shoulder, we need to clear the neckline at about 10,900 approximately, and I really wouldn't consider this bullish until we could get back up and retest this level up here at about 12,100. If we could come up and hit that, that would break back within my first resistance zone at 11.5, and that would also go coexist with the head or the inverse head and shoulder pattern. And so there is bullish perspective to be considering here. Now, obviously, I'm not going to say to try and buy this right as we're retesting this resistance. I feel like there's better confirmation out there. Whether you wait for the breakout and pull back, there's a strategy for everybody. And so I'm just kind of showing you guys kind of what I'm watching, what I'm thinking with Bitcoin. For me, I'm thinking it's a little bit more bearish that we come back down and retest these support levels. And so that's what I'm going to be watching. All right, guys, next up is the Bitcoin dominance. Now, this is a really important chart for a couple reasons. One, whenever Bitcoin dominance is trending up, altcoins are trending down. And Bitcoin dominance has been trending up since the 10th of January of 2018. And so this alt market has been in this bear market the entire time of this move right here. But what I can say is I strongly believe that we are coming to the terminal end of this. Indicated by Elliott wave theory, we can see that we've had a 1, 3, and we're working on the final 5-wave impulse up. We can see that profit taking is going on in this 5-wave, selling that's taking place here. Now, not only that, but the biggest thing that I'm watching out for is the fact that it does look as if we're seeing short-term exhaustion right here. We can see that we've consistently made lower highs on the RSI with higher highs in price since here. And so we've had a real explosion in dominance while the RSI is coiling in a more of a bearish formation. And so I have been watching for the turn whenever that is going to happen, whenever this starts to top out, because it's important to note that once Bitcoin dominance tops out, you're looking at another alt season, because every time we've dropped from here to here, from here to here, here to here, and here to here, we've had alt seasons. And you can go back and look at the charts and see the alts pump every time that happens. And so with this move, we've had almost 2 years of Bitcoin dominance trending up. Whenever that does get rejected and we fall, I would expect it to happen pretty quick. Big bearish engulfing candle to let everybody know just kind of what's going on. And then that would really let all that new money that's been into Bitcoin flood into these altcoins for once, and then we can start that new hype cycle. And so for me, what I'm watching right now, we are approaching our major horizontal resistance level at about 76. You could even drop it back down here a little lower, but about 76 roughly is our first major resistance that we're coming into contact with. Now, we have broken from the one here, and we have momentarily broken out of the one that I was watching right here, and I'll label those real quick. These levels, this level was the zone that I was watching right here, and we're on the short term, we're just peaking out of that. We did sell off and bounce from that, and so right now it looks as if we have the potential to continue to go up higher. With the RSI, we can see that we have maintained lower highs since this entire move. And so it's still possible that we can continue to trend up with the RSI showing bearish signs. So I want to point that out. It's not like it just has to top out because we are seeing short-term bearish or bullish exhaustion. And so with the Bitcoin dominance, it's important to note that what I've been watching for was a target of about 79%, which would take us to about right here. 79% was a target that I was watching. I would be really happy if we could tick all the way up here, because that's going to create a very massive alt season on the way up. And so this is kind of what I'm watching out for. But one thing I want to note, guys, is the fact that this is an established downtrend. We have had lower highs, this entire consolidation, and then all the way down to here, that sell-off. And now we're just kind of bouncing up from that. But has been an established downtrend since 2013. I don't see why that would end anytime soon, especially as the RSI is showing bullish exhaustion. We haven't even been able to top this high that we made on the RSI momentum. And so for me, you're getting lots of bearish divergence that's coming in here. On top of that, we've managed to hit a lot of these resistances on the way up, showing exhaustion in my opinion right here. It is still possible that we could make another leg up, but I just want to point out the fact that we are getting so close to that resistance level that now is not the time to be selling all of your altcoins. If you've managed to hold your altcoins thus far, or you've been buying over the last couple months and been holding underwater, make sure that you're not selling them now, because really that would be the worst thing that you can do. I see a lot of people getting fearful of alts, thinking that it's time to just go all in on Bitcoin and get fully invested into there. And I remember seeing the same sort of things back in 2016 when everybody wrote alts off and said they were never going to pump. And that was also before alts had a massive rally, so the sentiment was even lower back then. And so what I'm seeing now is just nasty altcoin sentiment. Everybody's becoming a Bitcoin maximalist right as Bitcoin dominance is heading straight for a major resistance. This is what happens. This is the emotional psychology of the market. Don't get shaken out. All right, guys, next up, we're going to be diving in and taking a look at the total market cap. Now, I was thinking about doing the Bitcoin market cap, but I showed you guys the Bitcoin chart, which is the exact same thing, so there's really no point. Now, this one's interesting for a couple reasons because it looks like we could be close to seeing some sort of a breakout. Now, this one, you're going to kind of have to fit in the resistance a little bit, but the way that this inverse head and shoulder has the potential of forming right here, right at this descending resistance, it looks as if, guys, I wonder if altcoins are about to start leading the charge here. Now, the reason why I say that is because if I pull up the Bitcoin dominance or the Bitcoin market cap, we're going to see that this thing looks bearish. This thing looks bearish like Bitcoin, in my opinion. It is still possible that we can break out of here. Don't get me wrong by saying that. But this looks a lot more bearish in my opinion. Whereas this, the total market cap, it's hugging the resistance line a lot closer. The right shoulder on that inverse head and shoulder is right at that resistance. And so to me, that tells me that there's a little bit more strength in the altcoin market at this time that's kind of holding it up. Now I'm going to show you guys why I say that right now. Why are the altcoins showing strength in this time? Now let's take a look at the altcoin market cap. Altcoin market cap looks absolutely amazing in my opinion. Now you're going to hear so much fear around the market. Most traders, even on Twitter, I've noticed, a lot of top traders really aren't interested in altcoins, even right now. And so what I've noticed is these day traders, they're not going to be interested in alts until really we get some significant action in those. We've only had, from the December lows, we've only had one little impulse rally that didn't take us very high. It just took us to the last resistance, so a lot of people are calling that a bearish retest. But with that bearish retest, we had so much new volume that came in there. And so for right now, we need to find support. Where are we going to find support is yet to be determined. But what I can say is looking at this chart, I really have no doubt in my mind that altcoins are going to perform well because this looks just like the perfect market cycle. We have the blow off top, everything goes parabolic, capitulation, anger, depression. And then this is disbelief, the first little leg up. Look at all that new volume that came in, way bigger than the last cycle, and you're sitting here telling me that altcoins are dead and never going to pump again. Not falling for it. And so for me, this looks pretty strong. Altcoin market cap, as of right now where it stands, looks really good to me. Now, let's go and look at our support zones. So the biggest support zone for me is going to come at about right here. Right about there. That's about our strongest support zone that we have. And we're basically right on that level. Now, I made my video yesterday talking about why I was going to start buying altcoins and why I didn't necessarily care if they dropped a little bit. And this just kind of goes to show you why. This very easily could make another leg down. I talked about that with my accumulation strategy between the other two alts I talked about yesterday. And it looks as if we're going to come back down and retest this level. Now, with that being said, guys, look at this support level. Look how strong this support level is. We had 3 different confirmations and reactions on this level. 1, 2, 3, and now we broke up and out of that and we're about to test it as support. And so I'm really excited for altcoins. To be completely honest, guys, I think that we have our first real chance of a flippening. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Bitcoin, in my opinion, looks bearish. I can see the bullish perspectives that people are giving, but for me, it looks bearish. Now, if we come here and I label my Elliott wave count, I'm going to show you guys kind of where I'm thinking the cycle stands right now. This was our 1 wave, and this entire run up from about 3,400 to 14K was our 3 wave. And now we're kind of just consolidating into the 4, whether we make another leg lower or whether we kind of just break out where we're at. We're going to watch and see. But with that being said, after that 4-wave retrace comes the 5, right? And so one thing that I have noticed, and this is a theory, it has happened in the past, it doesn't always happen, and so it's just something to take with a grain of salt. But oftentimes what happens with altcoins is in this 5-wave impulse, that is where the altcoins rally with Bitcoin the most. Now, it did happen in here, but it came at the 5 waves of the impulses. So the 1 of the 5, the 3 of the 5, and then the 5 of the 5 of the 3 was when the most volume came into the altcoins. And so I would expect that this 5 wave is going to be the one where they all rally in parity together, because if you take a look at the last cycle, altcoins did that. Bitcoin made its 1, 3, and 5 waves up to the all-time high, and that was really the big market cycle for the altcoins. And so a lot of that volume came in at the top of the 5 wave. This is one I'm going to be watching out for Bitcoin. Now, this is just a theory. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but what I am watching for is if Bitcoin drops and makes a leg lower, could this be the first real time in which Bitcoin drops, and when Bitcoin drops, the altcoins actually outperform Bitcoin? Because that hasn't happened yet, and it hasn't happened throughout the entire duration of the bear market and this disbelief rally that we've had thus far. So I think, guys, that we do have the real potential for the altcoin market cap to outperform Bitcoin and start having that major alt season that we've been expecting for a while. Biggest reason is because this looks like we're finding support here. This looks just like your classic disbelief rally. You have the big hype cycle, prices crash, prices make a first leg up out of those lows, new volume coming in to match. Because, guys, I want to point out a key factor before I wrap up this video today. Volume precedes price. Now, what does that mean? It means that volume is going to come first before any expansion in price. And we're going to be able to most likely see that happen back in here. Yeah, we saw it right about here. We saw this entire cycle. We saw a huge breakout in volume that came here right in the bottom. And then what happens? Price follows shortly after. And so I wanted to point that out, guys. The fact that we saw this entire hype cycle. Look how parabolic this thing got. Look how high all of that went. Look at how insane all of the money that came into the market to boost it that high. And now look at the new volume that's come in compared to the entire cycle highs. That is what is important to me. Now, you can say it's a bearish retest. I'm not going to fall for that because I truly, truly believe in these altcoins. I think that we are headed for a very impulsive move coming, and the volume is lining up to match. You have a lot of altcoins setting up across the board. Bitcoin looks a little weak as altcoins are landing right on support. Now, in my opinion, I think we're bullish. I could be wrong. This could easily be a bearish retest and we go lower, but I'm not leaning to that because it looks throughout the altcoin market, especially looking at some of the Bitcoin pairs, it looks like we are at that capitulation point where we might have one more leg down. But for the most part, with this altcoin market cap finding this support, I think that we are very close to seeing an impulse. Now, a couple things before I wrap up this video. With the altcoin market cap and with Bitcoin, we are at this point where altcoins look to be right at support, and Bitcoin looks to be like it could fall another leg lower. But with that being said, a lot of the times every time what has happened thus far is every time Bitcoin drops, altcoins drop with it. And so we could be at a point where Bitcoin is very close to being, or we could be at a point where Bitcoin is close to breaking out and going higher. And this could be a false descending triangle, because generally speaking, what's happened thus far is that every time Bitcoin drops, the altcoins drop with it. And so that pattern has played out the entire bear market and has played out thus far even in the bull. So with that being said, we have to be wary about kind of what's happening amongst the altcoins, because if Bitcoin does drop and it does bleed the alts again, then that support may not hold on the dominance. But we could see something happen a little bit differently, where maybe Bitcoin dumps a little bit and then altcoins hold support and continue to go up. Because this is all something we have to watch out for. Because, guys, in the last cycle, we did have flippenings that happened amongst the altcoins and Bitcoin throughout the entire way up. And so I think that it's eventual that we do see something like that. Now, whether it happens here, Whether we drop a leg lower, we're going to have to watch and see really what the market gives us. But this is kind of the thoughts and perspective that I'm playing with right now. I wanted to share it with you guys so that you knew exactly kind of what I was thinking. And then you can base your trades upon your own perspective. So this is what I'm going to be watching out for with Bitcoin. We also took a look at the dominance, approaching our major resistance here at about 76%, currently sitting at about 70% dominance. Altcoin market cap looks fire, guys. Lots of volume came in from this buyback, falling back down to support. If we hold support, alt season is in the works. And then finally, guys, we have the total market cap looking like we're very close to seeing a breakout here. It is possible we could drop a little bit, but for the most part, out of the total market cap and the altcoin market cap, we look the most bullish. In my opinion, Bitcoin is oddly enough the thing that looks bearish in this time, and so it's really interesting to see what's going to actually happen over the next couple weeks. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for the support. I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.